Hi, welcome back to the class. So in the last class, we looked at the different types of semiconducting materials. Now in this today's class, we will try to form a p-n junction on a pure form of a semiconducting crystal. And then we will try to understand its working when it's connected to an external DC power supply with the two different modes of connections. So let's get started with the p-n junction first. Now what is a p-n junction? P-n junction basically it's a single crystal. I can say it's a single crystal of silicon or else a germanium doped in such a manner that one half of it will act like a p-type semiconductor and the other half will act like a n-type semiconductor. Now here we call it as a p-n junction. The term junction implies the boundary or else the interference between these two different types of semiconductors. So here we'll have a boundary which we call it as a junction. Now if you look at this, so let me put this is your 1 and let's consider a second case. Now if you look at this picture, what I can say is that we have taken a p-type of semiconductors. It's a totally a different crystal, and on the other side we have taken a n-type semiconducting crystal. Again, it's a totally a different crystal, and then we have made them combine together with each other, so thereby we are getting a junction at the point of contact between these two different semiconducting crystal. So it's your crystal 1, I can say semiconducting crystal 1, and this is your semiconducting crystal 2. So these are totally different crystal and we have made them combine, and then we are getting this junction. So now if you look at this, the picture, what you see, the diagram, it looks like a similar diagram. So, but here in this case number 2, the junction what you see will offer a discontinuity for the flow of the charge carrier. So here this case number 2 will offer, junction offers a discontinuity for the flow of charge carrier. This is a junction, and the reason is that when you see this at the atomic level, these two different types of semiconductor will not show a continuity at the atomic level. So thereby the junction is going to offer a discontinuity. So it's very important that the junction which is formed in the p-n junction is grown on a single crystal. Okay, so how to form this p-n junction? What we can do is that we can take a molten pure semiconductor, and the purity, you know, it should be almost 99.999% or even more than that if possible. So you can take a pure semiconductor, and then you want from one side you can start doping with the acceptor impurity. You can start doping with the acceptor impurity, and from the other side of this pure semiconducting crystal semiconductor you can start doping with the donor impurity. Now when you start doping, okay, after some time you will find a junction is formed in this entire crystal. So during this process, during this entire thing, we have a very two important processes happening while the p-n junction is formed. So the very first one, we have a diffusion process, or else the diffusion of the charge carriers will take place, and the second process you will find there's a drifting of the charge carriers. Now our job is to study these processes right from when you start doping this acceptor and the donor impurity in this pure semiconducting crystal till the equilibrium state is reached. That is, when a proper p-n junction is formed in this crystal. Now let's study this p-n junction in more detail. So here I have taken a pure form of a semiconductor, and here I have doped the one side of the pure semiconducting crystal with the acceptor impurity. So here I have the acceptor impurity, and on the other side of this crystal I am doping with the donor impurity. Now I know that one acceptor ion, one acceptor dopant atom will give me a one hole. So here this is my hole, and the number of these holes can be increased by increasing the number of acceptor atom, whereas the same thing is applicable in this side. Each donor impurity will give us a one electron. So this is my electron. Now, as you increase the number of dopant, the concentration level of this p-type will going to increase, and the same is applicable for the n-type. Now here a point will come. From the one side we are doping the acceptor impurity, from the other side we are doping the donor impurity. So what we are trying to form is that one side of this crystal we will get a p-type of semiconductors, whereas on the other side we will have an n-type of semiconductor. Now a point will come wherein both these different types of semiconductor will form a junction. So here this is my junction. This is the junction form. Junction is nothing but a boundary between these two different types of semiconductors. Now we know that in a p-type majority are the holes, and in the n-type majority are the electrons, whereas the minorities are holes in this case. Now as soon as a junction is formed, and due to the concentration gradient of the p-type and the n-type material, what you will find is that the majority of the charge carriers will try to diffuse from the region of the higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration. So what it means is that now here in the n-type we have electron is the majority charge carriers. So a process of diffusion will start. Diffusion process begins as soon as a junction is formed. So the electrons from the n region, that is will diffuse to a p region. Okay, so what is this? In this n-type, the electrons are the majority, and this is a region of the higher concentration for these electrons if you compare it with the p-type. So the electrons from the higher concentration region, that is the n region, will diffuse to the p region. P region will have a lower concentration of electrons. This is your lower concentration. So n region is the high concentration for electrons, whereas this is the lower concentration region for electrons, right? Now the same thing is applicable again for the p-type. So here in this case, holes from p region will diffuse to the n region. Now for the holes, the p region is the region of the higher concentration. The p region is the high concentration of holes, whereas the n region is the low concentration for holes. All right. Now when this happens, the electron, if you see this, the electron is diffusing from the n region to the p region. At the same time, the holes are diffusing from the p region to the n region. So here when this thing happens, this electron will get recombined with this hole. Now here you see that this is your electron. The electron is moving from p region to the n region. Now here there is a vacancy over here, that's a hole. So what will happen is that this electron will recombine with this hole, okay, and thereby it will get neutralized. All right? Yes. So here at the same time, the holes are also moving from that. Even you can say that the holes are recombining with the electrons in the N region. So what we are basically getting is the hole recombination process. So here the electrons are getting recombined with the holes and they are getting neutralized. So what I can say is that recombination of the hole and the electron is taking place. So I'll write hole electrons recombination process. So electrons and a hole recombination is happening in this case. Now if you see this and all these electrons will get diffused. So here all the electrons are recombined with the holes. Now if you just look at this before this recombination, before these electrons getting recombined with the electron holes, just before that, this charge is what you see here. Let us take it. So this is your charge, the charge, and this is your hole. The charge, this electron is in a motion. Here in this case, the charges are in motion just before this recombination. Yes, so this motion, the motion of these charges will cause a diffusion current in that. So here we have something called as a diffusion current. Diffusion current across the junction. Diffusion current across the junction, which is just before the recombination takes place. Now here the things are not in equilibrium. There is a movement of this electron from N side to the P side. Now as these electrons and these holes are getting diffused across this junction, what you will see is that when the electron diffuses from the N side to the P side, yes, electron is being getting diffused, so it will leave a ionized donor atom in this N side region, which is carrying of positive charge. And as this process continues, as this diffusion of the electrons from N side to the P side continues, it will leave a layer of positive charges on this N side. Now here the same thing is applicable for the P type. The holes are getting recombined, so it is leaving an acceptor ionized in the N side, so which is carrying a negative charge over here. Now if you look at this region, let me mark this as the x1 and let this be x2. If you focus on this region between this x1 and x2, you see that the ions, what you see are immobile ions. These are immobile ions. Same thing is this, immobile ions are formed. Now here in this region there is no free charge carriers. So here we have depleted the free charge carriers. So what I can say, this region between x1 and x2, we can call this as a depletion layer, wherein we have depleted the free charge carriers, depletion layer. All right. Now here on the right side, of this junction, I see that there's a positively charged ion and there are negatively charged ion. So here I can say that there is a positive polarity is formed. Yes, and in this side this is at a lower potential. This is at the lower potential, negative. Now accumulation of the positive charges on the N side and the accumulation of the negative charges on the P side will create a potential difference across this junction. So from potential difference will be created, so the direction will be from higher potential to the lower potential, which will act like a barrier now here in this case. And so we can call this potential difference across this junction as a barrier potential, and let me use a symbol VB to denote this barrier potential. Or else if I want to show this, this is my barrier potential graph. This is my barrier potential. So here, this is my graph. I'll be showing this is my VB, that's a barrier potential. And if I want to show this, I can show it something like this. It's coming and then increasing like this. All right. So here this is the lower potential. You can say this is the lower potential, whereas here this is the higher potential plus. Or else if I want to show the same thing in terms of an energy band diagram, how I can show is this is my energy band diagram. Energy band diagram. Yes. So this side I am having a p-type. Okay, let me draw the energy band diagram for the p-type. So this is my conduction band. Let this be my conduction band. Okay. So here I represent this is my EC. EC stands for the conduction band for the p-type, and let this be the valence band for the p-type. So EC, EV for the p-type material. Now here this is my Fermi energy. So here EF, I'll write it as E Fermi energy for the p-type, which is close to the valence band. Okay, and on the right hand side we are having an n-type. So how I can draw this is I'll show a conduction band over here. So this is your EC for the n-type and the valence band somewhere here. So EC for the n-type. So EV for the n-type, valence band for the n-type. Now again the Fermi energy in the case of the n-type material, we are having it is close to the conduction band. So this is your n. And then simply afterwards what you can do is that you can just join this conduction band, this is my conduction band, to the conduction band like this. Alright, so here this valence band will be joined to the valence band. Okay, so this is my conduction band. Now here if I want to show the barrier potential, so I can extend this. Let me extend this. So this is the height. So here in this case if I want to show the barrier height, so how to represent from here to here, this is my QVB. So that's the barrier height. Now here there will be holes in this valence band, whereas electrons are available in the conduction band, and this is the barrier height that has to overcome by the electron if you want to go into the n region. And now the creation of this barrier potential VB will further oppose the flow of the charge carrier, that is your electrons and holes across this junction. Now the physical distance from the one side of the barrier to the other side of the barrier, we call it as a width of the barrier. Width of the barrier. Whereas the potential difference between these two sides, we call it as a potential barrier. Now an electron, if you want to make this electron go into this p-type, okay, you see that the electron has got enough energy to overcome this barrier height. Now we have seen the diffusion current, how we are getting a diffusion current. Now at the same time there will be a drift current. We have something called as this is the first, also we have a drift current. Drift current. Now this drift current is formed due to the electric field. Now here the electric field got a higher polarity on the side. Now here if you focus in this p-type, here I have just shown an acceptor ion with a one hole, right? Now inside this there are also some minority charge carriers. Now in this p-type we have electrons in the minority charge carriers, and those electrons are due to the intrinsic charge carriers. We can also call it as intrinsic charge carriers that are created due to the pure form of a semiconductors, right? Now those electrons from this p-type will be drifted to the n-type just because of this electric field. Yes, there's a positive charge, it will try to pull it up from this p-type, and thereby we will find and the moment of an electron. So let me show, this is a minority charge carrier, so this will be getting drifted. So there is a drift, and the charge is in motion, we will get a drift current here in this case. Now if you see the direction of this drift current, alright, now here the diffusion of the electron current was from n-type to the p-type, so there was an electron diffusion. And now here in this case, the holes are getting drifted, electrons are getting drifted from the p-type to the n-type. The direction is exactly opposite. Now initially, now we know the diffusion current and as well as the drift current. Now initially this diffusion current will be a very large if you compare it with the drift current. Since at the initial start the concentration gradient is very high, so the electron starts diffusing from n side to the p side. Yes, so thereby you will see a diffusion current. Now once it starts, there is also formation of positively immobile charges in this positive and negative immobile charges in this depletion layer, and we are getting an electric field, and once an electric field is created, then the drift current starts, right? The moment of the electrons from p side goes to the n side, and thereby we are getting a drift current. Now what is saying is that as you build up a potential barrier in the junction, it will stop the flow of the charge carrier from the n side to the p side. Yes, and at the same time, there is a drift current starting. So a time will come when this drift current ID small d will be equal to capital D, that is your diffusion current. Now when this condition is reached, we can say that we have reached the equilibrium condition state, or else a steady state for this p-n junction diode. Now if you want to, there is a barrier formed now, and if you want to make this electron go from this side, that is the n side, to the p side, yes, so you see that you supply enough energy to break this barrier potential, and then again there is a moment of charge carriers, thereby getting a current with the help of this p-n junction diode. Now this barrier potential VB, the barrier potential VB depends upon three important point, you can say, that is the nature of the semiconductor. In short, I will write it as a SC, and the temperature and the doping concentration. So the barrier potential at room temperature, VB, you can say at room temperature, VB for silicon is approximately equal to 0.7 volts, whereas for the germanium you will find it is approximately equal to 0.3 volts. Now there is an electric field created in this junction. So if I want to know how big is the electric field, so what I can simply put is that we know that electric field E is equal to the potential barrier, that is your VB, divided by the depletion width of this. So VB is approximately, I'll go with this 0.7 for silicon, 0.7 volts, and this is a depletion width which is always close to a micrometer, so you can go with 10 raised to minus 6 meters. So it will be, if you see this, it will give me a very big value, that is 0.7 into 10 raised to 6 volts per meter inverse. So what I can say that the electric field which is created in this junction is very high. Yes, so it's very high. This electric field is very high. Now the doping concentration, this depletion layer, the width and the barrier height depends also on the doping concentration. Now if the doping concentration, let me show it. If the doping concentration is low, so you are going with the low doping concentration, in that case over here in the p type there will be a very less number of holes, that is actually your majority charge carriers, whereas there will be a very less number of electrons available in n type. And then when they will start the diffusion process, the electron has to travel a longer distance to recombine with these holes. So what you will find is that when there is a low doping concentration, the width, the depletion width, the W, so W will be large, will increase, will be large. I can say that W will be large. So the barrier potential VB, I can say it will be a very weak. VB is your weak. Now, when the doping concentration is high, so when the doping concentration is high, so an electron has to travel a very small distance, because at the junction itself only there will be a large number of electrons and the holes. So you will find that the depletion layer will be in a very short region. So the W, the depletion layer here in this case, W will be a small, in a very small, and you can say that the potential barrier VB here will be a very strong because of the strong doping concentration. All right, so this is about doping concentration, how it is going to affect this depletion width and the potential barrier. Now let's look at the circuit symbol. Circuit symbol of a PN junction. Circuit symbol is something like this. So here it's your anode, this is your cathode, or else you can say this will act like a P and this line will give you the N. Now if you look at this symbol, the symbol is like in the form of an arrow, right? And if you look at the direction of this arrow, it is from P side to the N side. Yes, from the P to the N. Now what it tells us is the direction of the current. The arrow tells us the conventional direction of the current. Conventional direction of the current. Now this PN junction is also called as a diode. There's another name, we call it as also called as a diode. Di means two and the ode is coming from the electrode part. Now why it's called as a diode? Because it will only allow the flow of current in the one direction. Like this, in this case, it's showing from P to the N. It won't allow the current in the opposite direction. So there is no current flowing in this opposite direction, right? Whereas if you take any metal, okay, if you just take a metal, this is your metal, and you connect a potential difference to this metal, okay, let this be a positive polarity and a negative polarity, you will find a current flowing in this, right, in this direction. Even after changing the polarity, okay, negative and positive, so even after changing the polarity, there will be a reverse flow of current in this case of metal. Whereas in the semiconductor, only one direction is allowed, okay, only the flow of current will be only in the one direction. Now the next thing is, what we're going to do is we are going to connect this PN junction diode to the external batteries, you know, and then we will study this. So there are basically two possibilities of connecting a battery. One is that you can connect the positive terminal to the P side and the negative terminal to the N side, and the other way is the reverse of that. So both this we will see in detail. Now let's see the forward biasing of a PN junction. Now what exactly the forward biasing is that when you connect an external DC power supply to this PN junction in such a way that that external electric field which you are going to apply to this PN junction cancels out this electric field due to this potential barrier in this depletion region, so that you have a current flowing in this PN junction diode. So that's it about the forward biasing. Now let's connect to make this forward bias. So what we have to do is we are going to connect a positive side, positive terminal. We are going to take an external DC supply, okay. So here this P type is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So let this be of some volt V, and the negative terminal is connected to the N type of the diode. All right. Now here this is an external DC power supply. So this is your DC power supply. Now when you connect this DC power supply, if you look at the direction of the electric field, which is exactly opposite to the field which is created due to this potential barrier. All right, so this is my potential VB, barrier potential, and this V is the potential difference due to this external DC power supply. Now if you look at the direction of this, their electric field direction, what you see is that they are both exactly opposite to each other. So which will make this resultant field over here very weak. Yes, so the resultant field will be weak in this case. So thereby when the resultant field is weak in this depletion layer, yes, so this potential barrier height will get decreased, right? So when you increase the potential V, let me write this V over here, so this is V. Now as you increase this potential by very small value, what you will find is that the electrons in this n-type, which are in the uppermost energy level, will have some enough energy to overcome this barrier and cross this junction and go into this p-type, in a very small number. So basically as you increase this V, what you will find is that this barrier height will get decreased. So here it's a dotted line I have shown. Okay, so as you increase it more, so the barrier height will get decreased, right? And there will be a very small number of electrons which are in the uppermost energy level will cross this junction, and they will create a very small current in this. Now as you increase this potential barrier such that it overcomes this entire barrier width, okay, barrier height. Okay, if suppose this barrier height for silicon, it's a 0.7 volt, right? Now if you give a external potential supply greater than this 0.7 volt, suppose if you are giving V is equal to 2 volts, in that case this barrier height will be completely flattened, right? So a maximum number of majority charge carriers from both the side will start moving across the junction. So here this barrier potential will get decreased by, I can say, V, that's the external power supply, minus the barrier potential. All right, so once this is done, once you give the potential which is greater than this barrier potential, so the electron will start moving across the junction. So when the charge carrier is now in a motion, so you will get a very high current flowing in this diode. Or else the other way what you can think, you can say that this is a negative terminal, it is connected to the n-type. So this negative terminal will repel these electrons, and thereby this electron will gain some energy and then will cross this junction, so that again there is a flow of charge carriers. So this thing is also, that can also be the explanation for this. All right, now you see that there is a moment of a charge carrier. Now that means when the charges are in a motion, so you should get a current flowing in this circuit. All right, so the forward bias current, I can say forward bias current is equal to the whole diffusion current due to whole diffusion plus the conventional current due to electron diffusion. So we take the conventional direction of the current because we consider hole to be a positive charge. So this is the direction that we will be getting. So here, now if you see this, there is electrons moving from n-type to the p-type. At the same time, there are also holes are being moving from p-type to the n-type. So both are getting recombined. So at the same time, when they get recombined, they should actually get neutralized, right? But at the same time, we are supplying some external power supply over here. So again, there will be a creation of the electron-hole pair. All right, so electron-hole pairs are created at the same time. So, or else you can also see that electrons are diffused from n-type to the p-type. So here in the p-type we have a minority as a electrons. Electrons are in minorities. Electrons are in minority. Whereas here holes are in minority. Now here the electrons are moving from n side to the p side. So what I can say is that the concentration of the minority over here in this p region will increase. Concentration of the minority charge carrier increases, as on the right hand side, that's a hole, that will increase. Here there will be a concentration of the hole gas increases. But at the same time, there's an electron hole pair are being created. So you will find a current in this, and this process will go and continue. So thereby you will find that the diode conducts a current in this circuit. So this is how we are going to get a forward current in the circuit, and this current is called as a forward current. We call it as a forward current. And the magnitude of this forward current is in the range of milliampere. So the range of this is milliampere. Now let's see the reversed biasing of the PN junction. So it's exactly the opposite of the forward biasing of the PN junction. Now here, what exactly is reverse biasing? Now when you connect an external DC supply in such a way that the electric field which is created due to that is increasing the potential barrier over here inside this junction, okay, such that there is no flow of current in this PN junction diode. So to have that, what I will be doing is I can connect to achieve that. So I can connect the P side of this diode to the negative terminal of the battery, whereas the N side I can connect it to the positive terminal of the battery. So here, so this is my positive terminal and this is my negative terminal. Let me call, I'm applying some voltage of VR. So VR stands for reversed voltage. So this is your reversed voltage. This is your DC supply. Now when you apply some reversed voltage, it is going to establish some electric field, and that electric field will be in this direction. So positive and to the negative to this. So here this is your potential, reverse potential. So when the electric field is established at this, like this, in this direction, now if you look at the field which is created due to the potential barrier at the junction, okay, it's in the same direction as of this VR. Alright, so the resultant field at the junction, you can say it will be increased. Or else if I want to show the barrier potential here in this case now, the barrier potential height will be increased. And as you increase this reversed voltage more and more, the barrier potential will increase more and more. Or else you can say that the depletion region is going to extend. You can say it like that, right? Now here you see there's an increment in the barrier potential. So when there's an increment in the barrier potential, it will oppose the further movement of this charge carriers from both the side of the region crossing the junction, right? So this increase in barrier potential offers a higher resistance. I can say that this will offer a high resistance at the junction for the flow of charge carriers from both this region. All right, so here you can say that there won't be any flow of current in this, right? Looking at this barrier potential, we can say that there will be no flow of current in this PN junction diode. But a very small current called as a reverse saturation current, we call it as a reversed saturation current, or else we also call this as a leakage current current will be flowing in this junction diode OR. Now the direction will be from positive to this, so I can represent this as a IR. IR stands for the leakage current or else a reverse saturation current. Now the reason why we are having this small amount of current in this setup is just because of the thermally generated electron hole pair. So we have a thermally generated electron hole pairs. Now as a result of the heat energy, the electron, if you see this p type, in the p type we have electrons in minority, whereas in the n type we have holes in the minority, right? Now as a result of the heat energy, what you will find is that there will be a breaking of the covalent bond in this side on both the sides, n type as well as the p type. So here there will be a release of the electrons, and these electrons, if they are in the uppermost energy level, they will be having enough energy to cross this barrier height, okay, but in a very small number. So the range of this leakage current, you can say it will be in the microampere, whereas in the case of forward biasing, we get the range in terms of milliampere. If you compare it with the forward biasing, it's very, very small. Right? Why? Because the very small carriers are able to jump from p type to the n type, and it's the same for the holes from the n type to the p type. Now, as you increase this reverse voltage continuously, now suppose at the initial start you kept it at 2 volts, you are getting some reverse current, okay, and now suppose if you are increasing it to be a 6 volts, okay, so in that case, basically electron's kinetic energy will increase. The kinetic energy of the electron increases, and that may be very high enough to knock out the electrons from the semiconductors over here. Alright, and when this thing happens, there will be a more number of electrons which will be flowing in these diodes. Alright, and I can say that the breakdown, breakdown of junction has occurred. In this case, you will find that a number of charge carriers which are flowing in this diode will get increased, so you will get a very large reverse current, but again the range will be in the terms of microampere. Or else you can say that over here I said there was a very high resistance which was opposing the flow of the charge carriers. Now here, once this breakdown of the junction occurs, this high resistance will suddenly fall. So the resistance will be a very low, and thereby there will be a flow of charge carriers in this junction diode. Now it's a brief summary. Now we started the doping, the acceptor and the donor impurity on a pure form of a semiconducting crystal. And what we found is that the first thing is that diffusion is happening. Once the diffusion happens, the electric field starts building up at the junction, and once the electric field builds up, the drift currents comes into the picture. And as the drift current increases, you will find that there is a decrease in the diffusion current. And the time will come where both the drift current as well as the diffusion current will balance each other, or else we can say the equilibrium state of a PN junction is reached. And thereafter, after the equilibrium state is reached, you won't find any net transfer of a charge carriers across the junction. Yes, so that was your PN junction, and then we tried to connect the PN junction with two different types of modes of connection. Okay, when you connect a P side to the P terminal, positive terminal of the battery, okay, and N side to the negative terminal of the battery, what you find is that there's a forward biasing of a diode. That means you will find a sudden rapid rise in the current. And when you make the connection reverse, that is a negative terminal of the battery is connected to the P side and a positive terminal of the battery is connected to the N side, in that case the reverse biasing happens. Basically the potential barrier across the junction increases, and thereby it offers a very high resistance for the flow of the current. Now In the next class, we will try to plot this IV characteristics of a PN junction diode, okay, and we will try to understand, okay, graphically. That's it all for this today's class. Thank you.